I worked multiple jobs pregnant to support him, then found out he was with my mom on weekends. I thought I was building a future for our family, dragging myself through double shifts with swollen feet and barely enough sleep, while he told me he was helping my mom with errands. Turns out, he was spending weekends in her bed. I found out my boyfriend, the man I was busting my ass for, the man I carried his child for, had been sneaking off every weekend and sleeping with my own mother. Yes, my own mother. While I was juggling 2, sometimes 3 jobs while pregnant, trying to keep a roof over all of us. I know how that sounds. It sounds insane. But it's not a joke. It's not fiction. It really happened. And today I need to tell you the full, messy, heartbreakingly humiliating, ugly, and ultimately cathartic story of how I survived it. If you think your trust got shattered, buckle up, because this one broke something deeper. 2 years before all of this blew up, I met him. I'll call him Ryan. Not his real name, but you get the idea. We met through mutual friends. He was charming, funny, affectionate, and good with compliments. Everything I felt I needed at the time. He had ambition, or at least that's what he made me believe. He promised me a life beyond what I'd known. When I found out I was pregnant, that was when things changed. I was scared but hopeful. He told me he'd step up. He said, "We're in this together." So I quit one of my lesser-paying gigs because the exhaustion was real. But I doubled down on my other jobs, picking up shifts, sometimes overnight, just to make ends meet. Here's what my days looked like. Waking up at 5:30 in the morning, working as a server or barista for the early shift, then during lunch, doing freelance work like writing, editing, small gigs. After a short nap, I'd go out for evening shifts at a restaurant, or do rideshare or delivery tasks, all while managing morning sickness, doctor's appointments, swollen ankles, and exhaustion. I swallowed my pride. I cleaned houses, washed dishes, babysat for extra cash. I took every gig I could, because my priority was our child and him. I believed in that future he drew for us. Meanwhile, he was supposedly working a sales job, or so he claimed. He stayed out late meeting clients. He said he was building something. He said it was stressful. Whenever I asked questions, he'd deflect and say, "You worry too much," or, "I'm doing this for us," or, "I just want to surprise you," and I wanted to believe him. There were small things I ignored. He'd come home late smelling faintly of perfume that wasn't mine. He'd get defensive when I asked where his money went. He said he was working extra hours but never brought home extra cash. He told me his weekends were for rest, as if I didn't deserve rest while carrying our baby. He almost never took me to meet his friends or family, and he always had an excuse when I asked. But I rationalized it all. I told myself sacrifices had to be made. I told myself supporting him meant supporting us. I told myself the vision I had for our future was worth the uncertainty. The first big blow came on a Friday night. He had invited me to what he called a celebration dinner, something about a work milestone. He told me to dress nice. I did. I wore a dress I felt pretty in, something I hadn't done in months, with the bump and all. We got to this upscale restaurant downtown. He was already there when I arrived. He looked sharp, faced away, talking with someone. I smiled and waved. He nodded but didn't come over to greet me. That was odd. As I slid into the booth, he barely acknowledged me. He asked, "You wore that? You wore that?" In a tone dripping with contempt. In front of the waiter and a few tables over, I froze. My face burned. He spent the next 20 minutes giving me backhanded compliments, making remarks about how pregnancy changes people, how I was looking different, and how he hoped I wasn't planning to stay home after the baby. Every little thing felt like a jab. Then came the worst. Halfway through the meal, he looked me dead in the eye and said, loud enough for the waiter to hear, "I don't see this going much further. I don't feel the same way anymore. I think we should break up." My heart stopped. I looked around. The waiter was backing away awkwardly. Couples were glancing over. He slid the bill toward me without a word, then stood, grabbed his jacket, and left, leaving me there in my dress, swollen and vulnerable, with a bill for hundreds of dollars and whispers drifting around. I paid it, tears burning, hands shaking, and walked out into the night. He didn't look back. That night I called my best friend, bawling. I couldn't believe what just happened. In the days after, I floated between shock and denial, rage and sorrow. But there was one thing I refused to do: pretend it didn't happen. I began to dig. My friend Avery was the first to point out inconsistencies in his story. "He never even showed you that client roster," she said. "Why do you believe everything he says?" She poked me until I started asking questions. Where were his work emails? Where were his clients? Why didn't he bring receipts? I went through my phone, combing through texts, voice notes, old messages. I found lunch date messages that were strangely vague. I found call logs at odd hours. I found addresses that didn't map to any known workplace. The more I searched, the more his story fell apart. Then I got a message from someone I didn't know. "Hey, it's Mia, Ryan's coworker. Avery gave me your number. If you want, I've seen things he doesn't tell you." We met secretly at a cafe. Mia confirmed it. Ryan didn't work at a big sales firm. He didn't have a team. He didn't travel for business. He had no stable income beyond what he told me. He was lying. He told clients things were in the pipeline, but nothing ever materialized. He fabricated deals just to get by. That was bad enough. But as she spoke, some pieces clicked in my mind, like the perfume smell, the weekend disappearances, his weird boundary about family. I confronted him via text. "We need to talk," he answered with evasions. "Let's do dinner tomorrow." Or, "I just need time." I ignored him. I let him sweat. After the breakup and the lies coming out, I realized I couldn't just vanish. He had told both his family and my mother that we were still together, that I was coming to his birthday dinner with them. His mother called me, cheerful, asking about the party. She said he insisted I be there. I nearly choked. I hadn't spoken to his family. He had lied to them. He had twisted the narrative. I told Avery, and together we made a plan. I would go to the birthday dinner. I would play along. I would show up, calm and composed, wearing something simple but strong. He would see me, his family would see me, and I would let things unravel naturally. Meanwhile, Mia agreed to help. She'd drop by the house right before dinner under the pretext of picking up work files. She'd bring proof, documents, screenshots, receipts, texts, all the evidence he didn't know I had. At the same time, I collected every shred, text threads, email trails, maps showing his false travels, audio notes he recorded, photos he tried to hide. The night before the dinner, my nerves were frayed. I barely slept, but in my pocket I had my phone loaded with receipts, evidence, recordings. If he tried something, I was ready. The night of the dinner, I walked in expecting tension. What I wasn't expecting was how good it would feel to be seen. But on my terms, the living room was set up for dinner. His parents, siblings. He greeted me with a forced smile. Comments about how nice I looked. I nodded. I sat across from him. Conversation started about work, how things had been, how proud they were of Ryan's job. I let those statements slide, taking small sips of water, letting him talk, letting him exaggerate. He talked up his sales team, his clients, his commissions. He talked about a future with me. Then his sister asked innocently, "Can you tell us what your company does? How many people are on your team?" He stammered. He said vague things. His face shifted. I could see the sweat. Then someone knocked on the door. His mother went to answer it. In walked Mia, with a folder. The room paused. Mia offered pleasantries. She said she had some documents Ryan asked her to drop by. She handed the folder to his mother. Inside that folder was proof. Screenshots of emails showing he'd lied about clients. Maps showing his business trips were to nowhere. Receipts showing small gigs he didn't disclose. Photos of him with unknown women on weekends. One image clearly showed him leaving his car at a motel late Friday night. The same motel registered under my mother's name. Silence filled the room. His mother gasped. His father's face turned stone. Ryan blinked open mouth. Everyone stared. I leaned in, voice calm. "I have more." Every time someone asked, I just smiled. Because I knew the truth would slip out eventually. He sputtered. He tried to grab the folder. I stood, walked over, and said, "I trusted you. I carried your child. I worked 3 jobs so you could focus on work, but you weren't working. You were cheating on me. With my mother." His mother's face turned pale. She opened her mouth. I said, "Don't spare me. You lied to me, and to all of us." His father stood up. His sister looked horrified. The room went still. Ryan's protestations were weak. "You took things out of context. We were friends. You misunderstood." I waved him off, let him make excuses, but everyone had the evidence in their hands now. It felt surreal, traumatic, but also cleansing. I watched his world unravel in silence. I felt immense pain, but also power. Power in truth. Power in reclaiming myself. After the dinner confrontation, I went home. My body shook, my heart pounded. I sat in the dark listening to my own breath. The betrayal wasn't just from him. It was from someone I thought I could trust. My mother. I went through messages I had previously ignored, voicemail messages, texts she sent when she didn't feel well, calls she made at odd hours. I found bank transactions, motel charges, messages she left open on her phone when I borrowed it, all with Ryan. She'd been telling me she needed time, needed space, wanted to help me and Ryan build our family. I believed her. I defended her. I dismissed my doubts as paranoia. Now I saw it. It wasn't paranoia. It was truth. That weekend motel photo had her name. The same weekend escapes that Ryan couldn't explain. She was already there. The perfume smell in his clothes was her shampoo. The times he vanished, she covered for him. I confronted her in a phone call. How could you? I demanded. Her voice trembled. I'm sorry, she cried. I was lonely. You weren't there, he asked. I didn't mean to. The excuses poured. Sobs, guilt, shame. But none of that changed what she did. I ended the call. I cried. I raged. I screamed into pillows. I paced in my small apartment, swollen from pregnancy, betrayed to the core. Over the next days, Ryan doubled down. He texted me frantic messages. I never meant for this to happen. Your mom is crazy. You're twisting everything. He even tagged me on social media posts about expecting drama to come out eventually. He tried to spin it. My mother called me, crying, begging for forgiveness, asking me to see reason. I blocked her. I needed space. I needed safety. He showed up at my apartment one morning. Unannounced. He banged on the door, shouted through the peephole, demanded I let him in to talk. I refused. I called the police. He left. He sent texts. You'll regret this. You made me look like a monster. I could ruin you. All threats. But I stayed calm. I refused to respond emotionally. Every text I documented. Every threat I saved. His online posts. His family calls. Everything. I protected my baby and myself. My friends rallied. Avery, Mia. Others offered support. They kept me grounded. They reminded me I wasn't crazy. They held me when I cried. Every time my phone buzzed, I flinched. But slowly, the panic lessened. The grief gave way to resolve. I cut contact with him and my mother. I got legal protection. I filed evidence with authorities. I went to therapy. I rebuilt financially. I took care of my body. I leaned on my community. Over time, the longing to get revenge faded. The satisfaction wasn't in watching him suffer, though he did. It was in me surviving it. In carrying a child through that storm, in reclaiming my dignity, my identity, and my boundaries. I didn't need him to beg. I didn't need him to apologize. I didn't need him to suffer. I needed me to heal. Friends started whispering to me about jobs, projects, and side gigs. I picked up writing contracts again. I landed a small freelance position. I taught myself to negotiate. I discovered power in small wins. I reconnected with myself, with parts of me I lost, my artistic side, my laughter. I relearned how to trust me. Little by little, the wounds closed. Not fully, but enough. I learned new strength. Betrayal like this, especially from someone you trusted more, reshapes you. It fractures you. It forces you to raise new walls, to walk new paths, but it also reveals real things. Who you are when broken, what you really deserve, and how far you'll fight for your own peace. I don't end this story with fairy tale healing. I end it with understanding. I'm not perfect. I'm still pregnant, still vulnerable, still hurt, but I'm moving forward. If anyone hearing this feels what I felt, betrayal, confusion, loss, know this. Your resilience is already inside you. You are not defined by their lies or their crimes against your heart. You deserve to rebuild, and you deserve the truth. I don't know what will happen with my mother in the future. Maybe I'll forgive, maybe I won't, but I will never forget. I will never allow that kind of betrayal again. I don't know if Ryan is remorseful. He might be trying to paint himself as a victim now, but that's his narrative, not mine. Here's what I know. I carried a child while working exhausted shifts. I supported a man who didn't deserve it. I was betrayed by two people I loved. I survived. I'm rebuilding. If you're out there listening, I want you to know. You don't have to stay quiet. You don't have to accept deception. You can gather your receipts, your courage, your voice, and you can walk out of it. If this story gives you even a fraction of the validation I needed, it's worth telling. Thank you for hearing me. I don't hate you. I pity you, because you never understood the strength you betrayed.